Gurubhyo Namaha. Namaste to everyone. Today we are going to talk about yoga. Yoga is very popular nowadays, and many people use it as very loosely without knowing or like an understanding of what it is really. Many people use that and many people trying to disuse also, and some people abusing the term by giving different suffixes and prefixes. So I'm trying to bring real meaning of yoga as much as possible in today's talk. Many people think yoga is for sannyasins or swamijis or who lives in remote areas in forests or Himalayas or places like Rishikesh. If that is the case, yoga wouldn't be that popular and it is not used or like it wouldn't come up to cities like New York. If anybody wants to improve their day-to-day life or their work life, or they want to get rid of some stress, or they want to improve some condition, health condition, or mental disorders, or control their emotions or angers, for all these things, you have a solution in yoga. Yoga is anybody can practice who is older than 13 years. Our Shastra says yoga can practice by yuva, younger people, older people, who is suffering with diseases, who is weak. And yoga can be practiced by both men and women. According to our Yoga Shastra, yoga defined is Chitta Vritti Nirodha. This was stated in Patanjali Yoga Sutras. Patanjali is a great yogi who gave Ashtanga Yoga and many other Yoga Sutras, and they are basis for actual yogic practice. And the real meaning of the word yoga is unite or rejoin. Unite between what? With our inner self to supreme self. Yoga is an exercise for both body and mind. It makes you to work together and brings synchronization between your body and your mind and takes you to from ignorance to bliss. And that is what it is yoga. Yoga is a way of living. Yoga is a way of religion or religious life is yoga. So the yoga can be practiced in each and every aspect of life. And many people take just a physical exercise alone as yoga, but that is just a part of entire yoga. And there are different paths of that yoga. And as I said before, it is more for your mind. When you understand your mind, then only you can understand the whole universe and people and the nature around you. And for that, why we have to do that even? What is the purpose of our life? If you take, there is a common theme, whatever way if we define that, the purpose, that is happiness and the blissfulness. The happiness that we want to be last forever. But the actions that we do for happiness and for pleasure, we get some, but they don't stay long, they don't last long. So then we start again and again. And in search of that happiness, then at some point of time we realize we are encountering unhappiness and sorrows and miseries. So when all these kind of happiness, if you are encountering, that is not really yoga. Yoga is something that can make you happy forever. So that is real yoga. There are different paths. Mainly, bhakti yoga, that is devotional. The devotion is surrendering yourself to a Lord. There are 9 types of devotions. All these devotions you will surrender in different ways to the Lord. The surrenderness only comes when your mind agrees. Then to that mind, your body follows with the actions. And another type of yoga is karma yoga. Karma means action. We all are once born, is bound to do actions. And based on that actions, we get the results. Based on the results and based on the attachment to those results, we will have either happy or sorrow. When you able to do these actions without binding to the actions and to the results, doing action without worrying about the results. In Sanskrit it is called nishkama karma. Kama means desire. Without that desire, if you are able to do, you will also enjoy the bliss and that happiness. That is also very tough path, but you can attain that the same happiness. And the other path is Jnana Yoga. Jnana Yoga is knowledge. Through knowledge, you can attain the same happiness and the same bliss, which is a balanced state. You will not perturbed or imbalanced by any actions that are happening to you or to the world. You are able to discriminate what is right, what is wrong, what is real, what is unreal. Once if you acquire that knowledge, you can be again in that state. Even for that state, to understand, you need to work with your mind and with your intellect. And the other yoga is Raja Yoga. Raja Yoga is path of meditation. Patanjali's Ashtanga Yoga describes well about the Raja Yoga. Ashtanga Yoga is, Ashta means 8, Anga limbs, 8 limbs. Those 8 limbs are Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. In one of the festivals on the same platform, we discussed and dwelled about this Raja Yoga in detail. Then Hatha Yoga. In general and loosely we use yoga is Hatha Yoga. And these modern names, all these originated and they're giving for different purposes. But Hatha Yoga is focuses on Shat Karma. Shat Karma means 6 actions. I will go over the 6 actions in brief later. The others are asana, the physical postures, pranayama, controlling your energies through breathing, and mudra, those are gestures, bandhas, locks and knots within in your body, and sun salutations. Asanas. Shat Karma. Shat Karma, there are 8 things which you need to perform in order to attain that final state of yoga. The first one is Neti. It is a process of cleansing and purifying your nasal passages. There are different types of Netis. They are Jalaneti, Sutraneti, Dugdhaneti, Ghrutaneti. Jalaneti is, Jala means water. By preparing specific solution with water, you can cleanse your nasal, which is the first passage for your breathing. So one should purify those passages, and the same nasals can be cleansed using milk, using ghee, and using cotton thread. And these are higher practices. These all are part of yoga. And anybody wants to learn this, you should first seek learned teacher. Through them, you should pursue these practices. Dhauti is the next one. Dhauti is cleansing your alimentary canal from mouth to anus. There are different practices. They are Vastra Dhauti, Vamana Dhauti, Shanka Prakshalana. These practices are very scientific, and yogic science is practical science. You could bring back your whole alimentary canal system as clean, as pure as when the baby born first time. These practices are described in our Yoga Shastras. And the next one is Nauli. The Nauli is massaging and strengthening abdominal organs. Everybody knows the importance of the organs that are located in abdominal region. Many of the physical exercise, they focuses more on the outside, but the Hatha Yoga focuses on the internal systems, internal organs. Bhasti. This is a technique used to cleansing and toning your large intestine. Kapalabhati is a breathing technique for purifying the frontal region of the brain. And Thrataka is another practice to gauge certain point or light. The next part of Hatha Yoga is asana. Asana is a yoga practice, not the yoga by entirety. All these yoga studios that we have, most of them only teach asanas, and they call that is yoga. But the difference is, when you get a water from an ocean, you cannot call that glass of water or bucket of water as an ocean. It is only just part of it. That is the difference between the asana and the entire yoga. Asana is a physical posture. Asana, the way it is described in Shastra, sthira, sukha, asana. Sthira means stable, sukha means comfortable. Whichever it gives you comfortable and stability, that is called asana. There are 8.4 millions of postures out there. Out of that, 84 are important ones. That is enough for our practice. Out of the 84, if you practice 32 main postures, you would be able to adapt other postures. Not everybody able to do all the postures. Based on your physiology of your body, you should pick some asanas and practice to get the benefits of the asanas. And these asanas, if you see, there are some asanas for meditative purpose. Some of them can be practiced by standing. Some can be practiced by lying face upwards, and some you can lie on your chest and you can practice. And there is not a single asana that cures specific disease or anything. If you analyze with a common sense, the effect of or improper functioning of one system or one organ will affect the other systems, other parts of your body. The same way, you have to combination of all these postures to get the maximum benefit out of it. These postures originally designed to practice your yogic practice entirety. The health aspect and the physical aspect is the byproduct of it. It is very simple. If we are not feeling well, we can't concentrate. We can't do our functions properly. So in order to maintain the vigor, vitality, and energy, these postures designed. That is the intention of these yogasanas. Sun salutations are part of the asanas. Sun salutations are very ancient. You could see mentioning of the sun salutations in various scriptures and Puranas and Idhasas. Sun salutations are combination of asanas, postures, and mantras, and pranayama, and meditation. If you able to practice Surya Namaskara alone in proper way, you will get the benefit of practicing all the asanas and the entire cycle of the Hatha Yoga. There are 12 postures for the basics sun salutations. There are 6 different types of sun salutations are there. And the sun salutations, there is a separate Upanishad. Upanishad is an ancient scripture. In that, the sun salutation used as a template to cure any diseases by focusing your mind and channelizing energy through these movements, to these practices, to that area where that you need the balance for the energy. Then pranayama. Pranayama is enhancing your energy. Prana means energy. Depends on our capacity, we can live without oxygen either few seconds, few minutes, few days, few weeks, few months. There are people lived under the water days and months. So they don't need actually oxygen. What everybody needs to live is the prana, that is the energy. Once that leaves, that's it. The body, we call it is a dead. But this pranayama, how we can channelize through breathing. There are three parts of this breathing. One is inhalation, retention, exhalation. In the Sanskrit, Puraka, Kumbhaka and Rechaka. With this, we can channelize the energy. The energy lives or stays in our body in 5 forms. They called prana, apana, samana, udana, vyana. Prana is the energy that works from your nose to your diaphragm region. That is called prana. You need one type of energy. Apana is from your navel to pelvic region. Different types of energy you need to function those organs, and that is called apana. And for your balance purpose, in between those two regions, the energy is called samana. Then you need different type of energy to move your hands, legs, etc. That is called udana. And there is a energy that needs all parts of your body, all the places, and that need to help to move the other pranas is called vyana. Vyana is like pervading all the places. These are the 5 principal pranas. There are different types of breathing techniques through which you can gain or enhance your energy. Some of these are listed here. They call Kaya Stairyam. Kaya means body. You can stabilize your body. Bhastrika, Kapala Bhati, Ujjayi, Nadi Sodhana, Anuloma Viloma, Sitali Sitakari, and Brahmari. And all these breathing techniques purifies your nervous system. And we will do combination of asana, pranayama, and dhyana. At the end of this session, we will feel how powerful these techniques are. The other part of Hatha Yoga is mudra. Mudra can be described a psychic, emotional, devotional and aesthetic gesture or attitudes. Mudras are combination of subtle physical movements which alter mood, attitude and perception. And mudras can deepen your awareness and it can increase your concentration. There are different types of mudras. Many mudras are performed by hand, they called Hasta Mudra. You might have seen many Indian gods, their hands put in a different way, different gestures. They all mean something. Constantly, our energy is dissipated through our fingers, our hands. This is one mudra. This is called Chin Mudra. When you are opening 3 fingers and index finger you are touching the bottom of your thumb, and your palm, if it is open, it is called Chin Mudra. The meaning of this gesture is you are constantly in 3 states, either tamasic, rajasic, sattvic. These 3 fingers opening represents those 3 states. The index finger represents you. That is why it is called index. You are showing, and that is your ego. And you are surrounding that to Lord, that is the Supreme Self. That is the gesture, is the Chin Mudra. And like that, for every mudra has a meaning and a benefit and a purpose. And these mudras also can be performed with asanas. And also these mudras can be combined with bandhas. And bandhas. Bandhas are, bandha means hold or tighten up or locking. There are 4 different bandhas. By using these bandhas, you can change the direction of the energy. One bandha that you can perform in pelvic region, that is called Mula Bandha. By contracting or tightening perineum region. The next bandha is Ujjana Bandha. That is, you can, by flying your stomach up, you can lock and you can change the flow of energy. The another bandha is Jalandhar Bandha, that is, works in chin region, that is where like your thyroid presents. If you able to attain this Jalandhar Bandha in Sarvangasana, Sarvangasana is an inverted pose that you will lift your body by planting your head and back on the floor, by pressing your chest against the chin. Then it activates your thyroid. When you do immediately Matsyasana, fish pose, you will able to activate your parathyroid. And when you combine these 3 bandhas, that is Mula Bandha, Ujjana Bandha, Jnana Bandha, that is called Mahabandha. Then you could channelize the energy, any specific organ or system. And these are higher practices. My advice is you should learn from the learned teacher. Now, at this point, I would like to